So, this is going to be my review of East of West Volume 2. Yes, I know I have a picture of Volume 1 on here. I got lazy and just decided, you know what, it's just an image and I'm doing a review on something else. So anyway, yeah, so East of West Volume 2. Yeah, this book continues to be one of my favorite image titles and favorite comic books ever because, dear Lord, Jonathan Hickman knows how to write a story. And I know some of his stories, like in Avengers and whatnot, can be a little confusing, but here it's like an actual story. It's an actual kind of thing he's trying to tell, and it comes together like a story. In here, though, if you're into action and whatnot, this is the comic. This comic is not for you. This story is a little more intellectual and a lot more. This volume is a lot more dialogue heavy, whereas the first volume had a lot of action. This one doesn't really have a lot of action, but it does have some excellent dialogue in it, and the artwork by Nick Dragotta. Oh my dear Lord, that I could ejaculate to his artwork. Not really, but that's a very strong figure of speech I would have. His artwork is fucking amazing in here. There are just some really great close-ups of characters and some really just great character designs in here. So the thing is about East of West is that I really don't know what to talk about with it because it's such a hard comic to talk about. I did a review on Volume 1 the first time around, and yeah, that was hard to talk about then. But this time around, East of West Volume 2 is a little bit more, like I said, cerebral and a little more interesting. Because here's the thing. We have in here, we get a little more character development for one of the four horsemen, Conquest, in one of the stories. We find out that one of the members of the Chosen, which are the people who are supposed to bring about the apocalypse in this universe, was kind of like the adopted son of Conquest. Because here's the thing. The four horsemen are reincarnate. They're reborn every century, or so on and so forth. They get new bodies every time around. This time around, they look like children, excluding Death, who looks kind of like he literally looks like Clint Eastwood. But in here, in her previous incarnation, Conquest was a woman, and now he's become a guy. But in his past life, Conquest was a woman who found a child and raised it to be their prophet. And it's kind of a sickeningly touching story between Conquest and this child, because Conquest is this big. It was once this huge, menacing force, and she was teaching this child to be like her weapon. And still, you could it's not like, oh, I just raised you to be my weapon. It's more like, in her own way, she loved this child. She loved it beyond, and even kept it from being killed by war. She kept war away from it, and safeguarded her, and safeguarded the boy. Among other things, we also have a story with Death. Here's the thing. Death doesn't really play a big part in this until the tail end of the story. We get a few things with him, and he's trying to reach this character called the Oracle, who is a woman who has incredible psychic powers, and Death is trying to find his son, who the Chosen perceive to be the Great Beast. But now there's some talk among the horsemen that are like, sorry about that. So there's some talk among the horsemen that are like, well, maybe Death's son isn't the Great Beast. We should just kill him. We also discover that the Death's son has also got some plans of his own, and he's not willing to just lie down and get killed by war, pestilence, and conquest. He's got his own little plan for them as well. Among other things, we also have another character introduced here, called just known as the Ranger. Now, for those who don't know, let me try to explain the world of East of West. The universe of East of West, the Civil War ended differently. I'm not saying that the Confederacy won. What happened was the Civil War was going on, and what happened was an event happened, and there were other nations throughout the rest of the United States became its own country. Like the Union stayed the way it was, the Confederacy stayed in the South, and we also have the Republic of Texas, Louisiana, and most of the Gulf Coast consisted of former black slaves. It's a little. Their title for the country is a little more racy, and I don't want to say it, but there's also a nation for Indians, in here. So each like race or group have their own, and even ethnicities have their own countries and kingdoms within the U.S. And in here, in the Republic of Texas, there were very corrupt politicians and judges. And a politician-to-be was going to get after murdering one lawman's family, he pretty much said, hey, I'm going to get off easy. And the lawman said, fuck that, you're not getting off with jack shit. And to which they said, fuck you, you're, the Rangers are in charge. So the Rangers pretty much, what they did was kill every judge they found and then work their way up to the politicians. And instead of becoming the government, they literally said, nah, we're done. We know if we keep this up and we'll become the things we hated. So this talks about one ranger who started all that, getting under the employment of one of the chosen who was who was pretty much like, he was a traitor among them. And in here, he employs the ranger, and the ranger says, yeah, I'll hunt down the other chosen, but you're you did stuff for me in the past. So I'm gonna do you this. I'm gonna kill you last. And yeah, there's some really great storytelling in here. There's also some political commentary in here, but it's not blatantly saying, it's not blatant political commentary. It helps the story, but in a way, it's kind of like Hickman's perspective on government. But it's kind of done fairly, where it's not beating you over the head with his political opinion. It's more like, hey, this is what's happening in this universe, but you can apply it to the real world. That's what I'm saying, is that what he's saying about the politics applies more to the comic books, the comic you're reading, but you could easily apply it to the real world, is all I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. And there's this wonderful speech from the Madam President of the Union, who pretty much says, look, even though I got sworn in, that doesn't necessarily mean I can just snap my fingers and fix everything, because the last president really did a number on us. So I can't really just snap my fingers and just go, oh, it's all taken care of. These things take fucking time. And yeah, that's a really ballsy move there, Hickman. You played your cards right on that one. All in all, if you're looking for action, I would say, yeah, there's some action in here, but it's mostly dialogue heavy. But some really brilliant dialogue in here. There are just some really great moments in here. And there's actually some points where you root for the bad guys, namely Conquest. And her love for her adopted son. It's really weird, because again, they always change genders and shapes every time. But yeah, this is a really great comic. I really do suggest reading it. The price for Volume 2 is $15.99, which is actually pretty cheap comparing, with what Marvel and DC and even IDW have for prices in terms of comics. Because here's the thing, image trades are incredibly cheap. Like I've said before, you've got pretty much $10 for the first trade, and then from then on it's about $15.99, depending. But it's mostly like $14.99 to $15.99 for most other trades. So yeah, they're pretty fucking cheap. So I would suggest go check out, at least East of West Volume 1. It's about $10. You can check it out and read for yourself, and then go out and buy yourself Volume 2 if you like it. But yeah, I really do enjoy this. This is probably one of, if not the most, my favorite Image book. And that's really hard, because you got Rat Queens and a few other books out there from them. So yeah, I highly recommend this book. Go check it out. And once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and I will see you guys later.